Hey everyone, it's Jason. So we have another DC comic deck building game. This is Forever Evil. This would have been the third big box expansion, standalone expansion that came out. So much like the base one, Heroes United and Teen Titans, and Death Metal, which would be the newest one that came out. You can buy this, play it all by itself. You want to mix and match it with other sets, you can sure do that. The big twist on this is that you play as oversized villain cards, and you are fighting, instead of fighting supervillains, you're fighting the superheroes. Otherwise, outside of that, everything stays the same. There's still hero cards, villain cards, equipment, superpowers, all the other stuff that you get from the games. So let's see who we got for oversized character cards. Now, conceivably, what you could also do is you could have, to some of the other sets, you also add supervillains. So you could have one person plays a supervillain, one plays a superhero, and you could mix and match the superhero and supervillain decks. You could have two, couple superheroes, couple supervillains. You could play around different ways with it. Alright, so Harley Quinn. During each player's turn, the first time you pass a card or discard a card, draw a card. Bizarro. When you destroy a card, gain a weakness. During your turn, you may put 2 weakness cards from your discard pile on the top of the weakness deck. If you do, draw a card. Black Manta. You may put any cards you buy or gain from the lineup on the bottom of your deck. So, similar to how Aquaman's works, but instead goes to the bottom. Deathstroke. +1 power for each card you destroy this card. You see these guys have lots of destroy effects. We have Sinestro. When one or more foe fails to avoid an attack you play, gain 1 VP. The first time you gain any VP during each of your turns, draw a card. So this is the set that first starts introducing the VP tokens. Which I mistakenly showed in the first videos. I was thinking that was always... So otherwise, normally you only add the VP at the end, but the villains have the ability to interact with VP during the game. We have Bane here, and I think Bane is the promo card. It doesn't say promo on here like the other ones do, but I think he was the first printing promo card, so you might not have him if you buy your game. And it doesn't specifically say this promo on there. So just be wary of that. If this is the first card you played during each of your turns, it has cost 1 or greater. You may destroy it. If you do, +2 power. We have a Lex Luthor. At the end of your turn, draw an extra card for each hero you bought or gained during your turn. And finally, Black Adam. The first time you play a superpower during each of your turns, you may destroy it. If you do, draw a card and gain 1 VP. So this mode is called Forever Evil, not just because you play as the bad guys, but it's based on the storyline Forever Evil, where it's loosely based on it, because I add some of the elements, where the Justice League from Earth 3, the Justice Syndicate, for Earth 3, the evil alternate versions of the Justice League, came to the DC universe and basically took over. They supposedly killed a bunch of the main heroes, took over the world, and then Lex Luthor and a bunch of other villains had to band together, with a couple of the heroes, to try and stop them. Because even though they're bad guys, but we want to rule, not them. So we're going to get some of those villains in here, which is cool. So we have Johnny Quick. The Crisis set focuses more on that, because that's actually where you have, I think, the super villains you fight. In one of the Crisis decks is where you fight the Crime Syndicate. But that's where this is kind of based on. So Johnny Quick, you gotta draw a card. Just like the Flash. He's the evil version of the Flash, I guess. The alternate version. The Blight. You may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile, which is superpower. Gain plus power equal to the cost. If you choose not to, 2 power. Emperor Penguin. When you destroy this card in any zone, gain 2 BP. The Royal Flush Gang. Why this isn't focusing right? There we go. This is a more newer version of the Royal Flush Gang. I don't like them. I like the one where they're actually dressed as playing cards versus like weird militaristic guys. But that's my preference. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Gain 1 VP for each other Royal Flush you have played this turn. So it's kind of reminiscent of Suicide Squad. There's going to be a bunch of those. We have Giganta. +4 power. If there are no cards with cost 3 or less in your discard. Otherwise, +2. Atomica. This is the Earth 3 version of the Atom. You may destroy a non-villain card in your hand or discard pile if its cost is 1 or greater. Gain 1 VP. Some more Royal Flush. Man-Back, 2 power. Defense. You may discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, steal 1 VP from the attacker. So, like most of the time you play as villains, they're going to be a little bit more competitive with each other. The Marvel Legendary deck building did the same thing with their villain set. When you could play as the villains had a lot more stuff to like mess with the other players versus any of the heroes. But what makes this a better version to integrate the heroes is everything plays the exact same. You just, instead of playing as a superhero, you're playing as a super villain. Otherwise, you buy the villain cards the same, you buy hero cards the same, equipment, like nothing else there changed. So it's much easier just like, hey, we can make a set where you get to play as villains instead. And that's cool. The Marvel one tried to make that, but then they changed all the text, like, so allies were adversaries, or, you know, and stuff like that. They changed the name of things, like the Mastermind became, I don't remember, but they changed what every single word meant into a different word that made it sound like, so they functionally did the exact same thing. They later have sort of corrected this, because then they made, like Civil War, where you gotta play heroes against other heroes. And then they made Secret Wars, where you gotta play some of the villain cards, like Thanos and his Black Order, and or some of the other Cabal characters. And they made them just as heroes like everything else. They just said, you know what, who cares? So, I almost wish they'd reprint that, but that's a different thing. But, yeah, they did fix that, so now it's more in line like this. But they still haven't done, like, another full villain set yet. Alright, we have Ultraman. This is Earth 3 Superman. You may destroy a card in the lineup. +1 power for each different superpower in the destroyed pile. Owlman, Earth 3 Batman. You may destroy an equipment in the lineup. Gain +1 for each different equipment in the destroyed pile. Superwoman, Earth 3 Wonder Woman. You may destroy a villain in the lineup for each +1 for each different villain in the destroyed pile. And I do realize that this isn't exactly Batman, because this is Thomas Wayne instead of Bruce Wayne. It's his brother in that universe. And then this isn't Diana of Themyscira. This is a Lois Lane. And there are differences between the characters. But that's who they're supposed to represent. Like this is Power Ring. Like this version here is Hal Jordan, but his ring works differently. But they have the way that Earth 3 works, the alternate DC universe, where good is evil, evil is good type of thing, is their histories and stuff fluctuate. So, like, they might have been like this at one point, and then the next time you see them in a different comic book, you know, 2 years, 5 years later, they could have different origins thing, because they kind of change somewhat, reflecting how the normal DC universe changes. There's been, like, the John Stewart Green Lantern, there's been Kyle Rayner version, so they all kind of change around, like, they add new members. Like, Atomica wasn't anywhere near an original member. Johnny Quick has changed his outfit numerous times. So yeah, it's just who they're supposed to be opposites of. It's not 100% exact and it can always fluctuate. You may destroy a hero in the lineup, gain +1 power for each different hero in the destroyed pile. Grid, this is the Earth 3 Cyborg. +1 power, you may put a villain or equipment with a cost of 5 or less from your discard pile on top of your deck. Another Atomica Death Storm. So this is the Earth 3 Firestorm. You may destroy a card in your hand. At the end of your game, this is worth 1 fewer VP for in excess of 20 cards in your deck. So basically, the less cards you have, the more this one's worth. It's normally worth 10. We have Despero. Draw 2 cards, then choose a foe. Attack. That foe discards a card with a cost of 1 or greater. I think we're going to start running into a bunch of duplicates at this point, and that's what we got. It's not too many duplicates in that one, which is nice. Now we looked at the heroes. So we're going to get a Power Girl, +3 power. We have Steel. I don't like this version of Steel. You may destroy a non-hero card in your hand or discard pile if its cost is 1 or greater, gain 1 VP. Element Woman, +2 power. Well, you own or are playing this card is also a superpower, equipment, and villain. Star Girl. Courtney. I can't remember her last name. +2 power, defense. You may discard card to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card and put a card that costs a 1 greater from the destroyed pile on the bottom of the main deck. Got Catwoman. +1, choose a foe. Steal 1 VP from that foe. Amanda Waller. You may destroy this card in your hand or discard pile. If it is a villain, power equal to its cost. If you choose not to, +2 power. Steve Trevor. When you destroy this card in any zone, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Commissioner Gordon. +1 power. Defense, you may discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, gain 1 VP. Vibe. You may put a superhero or superpower with a cost of 5 or less from your discard pile on the top of your deck. Another Gordon. We have a Dr. Lake. I don't even know what Dr. Lake this is. I've never seen him before. Draw a card and choose a foe. That foe puts a location he controls into his discard pile. Well, that's a mean card. Pandora. Add the top card of the main deck to the lineup. +1 for each different cost amongst cards in the lineup. You got Firestorm. Put the top card of your deck in your supervillain on your supervillain. This card has a game text of each card on your supervillain this turn. At the end of the game, destroy those cards. So this is kind of a neat concept for a card. One, you could just easily replace supervillain with hero. For the sake of if you're playing him in a different deck. It's not that hard to figure out. But you can keep giving your guy more and more abilities that they can use actively every turn, but you don't gain any of those VP points. Phantom Stranger. You may destroy a card in your hand. You may destroy a card in your discard pile. At the end of the game, which is worth 1 fewer VP for each card with a cost of 0 in your deck. So it gets more powerful if you destroy the base ones. That might be what we got. There we go. There's our heroes. Alright. Oh, I just realized. Other than videos, I usually show like the generic cards first, and I skipped over them. Alright, well, we'll do those last. Here we have superpowers. We have Invulnerable. +1 power. Defense. When you are attacked, you may reveal this card from your hand. If you do, you may discard it or destroy a vulnerability in your hand or discard pile to avoid an attack. Giant Growth. +2 power. Insanity. If this is the first card you play this turn, each player passes a card in their hand to the hand of the player on his left. Defense. You may discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, put your card from your hand or discard pile into the attacker's hand. Interesting. Super Intellect. You may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile if it's an equipment. Plus power equal to the cost. If not, choose 2. So now they are going to come eventually. Some of these sets do have cards with the same names. Like Super Intellect, Invulnerability have been, I'm almost positive they've been in multiple decks. When you get the Batman rival set or the Green Lantern rival set, there's cards in there that are duplicates of just the names, but the abilities are different. And I would say if you're going to mix the decks together, that's fine. But you can either say you can only have one version or the other, or you can only have the collective total. So if there's only like 2 Commissioner Gordons, you could have one of each, or you'd have to have one of one set, one of the other, or you could throw all 4 in there if you want. There's no great rules for how to do this, outside of them just saying take one set from one game and put the set. So the only way they say to mix up is pull all the equipment out of this deck and put all the equipment from another deck in there, which is great, but I think you could have fun mixing and matching games around. Here we have Constructs of Fear, +3 power, attack. Each foe discards 2 cards. Transmutation. Destroy a card in your hand or discard pile, gain 1 VP. You may gain a card from the lineup equal to or less the cost of the card destroyed this way. Expert Marksman. You may destroy a non-superpowered card in your hand or discard pile. If it costs 1 or greater, gain 1 VP. Bizarro Power. This one's kind of interesting. +4 and gain a weakness. Attack each foe gains a weakness, but you get -1. Word of Power. When you destroy this card in any zone, you pay 4 or less to defeat superheroes of this turn. We have Power Drain. +2 power, choose a foe. Attack. That foe reveals his hand. Choose 1 card revealed this way to be discarded. I think that's all the different ones. Oh, we have Ultra Strength. +3 power, draw 2 cards. That was the last one. Alright. Let's look at some equipment here. We have a Mallet with Harley Quinn. Reveal the top card of your deck, draw it, or pass it to any player's discard pile. The Cosmic Staff, +2 power. Defense, may discard to a willing attack. Attack, if you do, gain the bottom card of the main deck. Sledgehammer. You may destroy a non-equipment card in your hand or discard pile. If it costs 1 or greater, gain 1 VP. We have a Cold Gun. You may put a frozen token on a card in the lineup. If you do, remove it at the start of the next turn. So that was the other tokens I had in the bag. There's going to be big giant tokens that say frozen. And on the back side, it will say this card cannot be bought or gained, in case you forget what frozen does. Yes, it kind of helps prevents other players. It's that sort of sniping effect of villains being villains. Man Bat Serum. +power equal to your VPs. If you have 5 or more VPs, destroy this card at the end of your turn. Pandora's Box. Reveal the top card of the main deck. Add cards from the main deck to the lineup equal to the revealed card's cost. The Secret Society Communicators. You may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. If it's a hero, +power equal to its cost. If you choose not to, +2 power. The Venom Injector. When you destroy this card in any zone, +2 power. We have a Broadsword. +2, choose a foe. Destroy a card with a cost of 1, 2, or 3 in that foe's discard pile. We have the Firestorm Matrix. Place the top card of your deck. Play the top card of your deck. If it costs 5 or less, you may destroy it. If you do, leave the card you played in front of you for the rest of the game has ongoing. You may play this card once per turn during each of your turns. End of the game, destroy it. So this works like the other Firestorm. Basically, you get rid of your cards to gain effects to use them every turn, which is awesome, but you don't get any of that VP. Plus, you lose the ability to play them. Like, cards just play something. Power Armor, defense. You may reveal this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. And that. Alright, and then we have a couple of locations. We have Blackgate Prison. Once during each of your turns, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a vulnerability or weakness, destroy it and gain 1 VP. Well, that's super helpful. Here we have Earth 3. Once per each of your turns, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a punch, destroy it and gain 1 VP. Central City. +1 power for each non-kick superpower you play. Star Labs. +1 power for each equipment you play. Belle Reve. +1 for each villain you play. And Happy Harbor. +1 for each hero you play. Kind of mimics some of the original superheroes' powers. So then we're going to, of course, have all of our kicks. Our special kick pile, just Harley Quinn. Gonna have all of our punches. Lex Luthor punching Batman in the face. Starter cards. Of course, we're gonna have some vulnerabilities. Black Adam being shocked. It's kind of weird, but then finally we'll have the weaknesses, which is Power Ring's hand kind of corrupting him. And those are those ones. And that's all she wrote. Yeah, it wasn't too much there. So that is the Forever Evil deck building game. So if you're buying the Crisis decks, I believe it's the each Crisis links to it sort of links to one of the base sets, which adds more stuff. So like Crisis 1 adds more of the main Justice League characters and kind of has some of the same supervillains. So it's kind of like, here's your base set, here's the same characters, but like in Crisis mode. And set 2 does the same thing for the Heroes United. Set 3 does it for Forever Evil. So if you're looking for more cards, like if you really liked playing as a villain, you could buy this. And then you could buy the Villains one. You can also buy the Rogues small expansion, which will add more villain cards. So if you only want to play like that villain aspect, there's a couple different options. Alright, that's what we got for this video. Check you guys later. Bye. Alright, I forgot to talk about the superheroes. So, throw this in, and then I will re-wrap up the end of the video. I was like, gosh, it seemed like I was missing something. Just set them off to the side. So the superheroes you get to fight at the end of the game follow the same thing. 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s. You have a higher 13. A little bit more challenging. So we get the Flash. You beat him. You get to draw 3 cards and then discard a card. We have Swamp Thing. +2 for each location in play. First appearance, attack. Each player puts a location he controls into his discard pile. If you cannot, gain a weakness. We have Cyborg. +2 for each superpower and equipment you have in play or play discard. Attack. Each player discards a superpower and an equipment. If you discard no cards, gain a weakness. Constantine. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Draw 1. Destroy 1. And put 1 on the top of your deck. Gain VP equal to the destroyed VP value. Each player loses 3 VP. If you have none to lose, gain a weakness. Aquaman. You may put up to 3 cards from your discard pile on top of your deck. If you choose not to, 3 power. And why wouldn't you? Because your bottom 3 cards might be vulnerabilities or weaknesses. Or even any starter cards, really. Attack. Each player puts 4 cards with a cost of 0 from his discard on top of his deck. If you put none there, gain a weakness. Batman. You may play up to 3 equipment that cost a 6 or less from the destroyed pile. Then put them on the bottom of the main deck. If not, choose 3 power. So like, those abilities let you choose. You can choose not to do it. These attack ones, though, each player destroys an equipment in his or her discard pile. If you cannot, gain a weakness. It doesn't mean if you choose not to, you can gain a weakness. Instead, it means you have to destroy one if you have one. If you do not have that card for some reason, then you can gain a weakness. Green Lantern, you may play up to 3 heroes with 6 or less. Destroy pile, put them on the bottom of your main deck, or gain 3. Each player destroys a hero. If you cannot, gain a weakness. I get why they have like the same effects repeated for different things, but it's also kind of like, okay, so I have 3 characters that are essentially the same character just with a different word. So Wonder Woman is you can play up to 3 villains with 6 or less, otherwise you destroy a villain. You have Martian Manhunter, +2 for each hero and villain you play or have played. Attack, each player discards a hero villain or not, gain a weakness. Shazam. Gain the top 2 cards of the main deck, play them, and destroy one of them. Its effect remains. Each player puts a card with a cost of 5 or greater from his hand into or discard pile on the bottom of the main deck. Cannot gain a weakness. And finally, Superman. I've seen if he had the blue back, but he doesn't. You may play up to 3 superpowers from the destroyed pile and then put them back on the bottom of the main deck. If not, gain 4 power. Each player destroys a superpower in his hand or discard. If not, gain 2 weakness cards. Alright. So that would be the actual end of the villains. And you can see we got the main ones from the first set, and then we got some that were added in the Crisis set. The first Crisis set, which is like Shazam, Constantine, and Swamp Thing. So if you bought the first base set and then the first Crisis set, these are the heroes that you get to play as in there. Alright, now I'll catch you guys later. Bye.